NFL fans blasted Eagles' Nick Sirianni after he appeared to yell at Pete Carroll during loss to Seahawks. The Eagles lost their third consecutive game Monday night, falling to the Seahawks 20-17, in a thriller that had everyone singing the praises of Seattle QB Drew Lock, whose game-winning TD pass in the final minutes was a thing of absolute beauty. You know who fans weren't praising after the game? Eagles coach Nick Sirianni, whose team appears to be free-falling at the wrong time of the season. Cameras seemed to catch Sirianni yelling at Seattle counterpart Pete Carroll during the fourth quarter after the Seahawks coach used a timeout, which helped give the Eagles time to challenge the previous play. Did Eagles get screwed on Jason Kelce false start penalty? The Philadelphia Eagles faced some uncertainty heading into Monday Night Football. Not only did they have Matt Patricia take over for Sean Desai as defensive play caller, but quarterback Jalen Hurts was listed as questionable due to an illness that worsened on Sunday. With the Dallas Cowboys losing on Sunday, a win for the Eagles would propel them back into first place in the NFC East. Hurts was able to play on Monday night and led the Eagles offense to multiple lengthy drives that killed a ton of game clock. On their third drive of the game, Philadelphia possessed the football for half of the second quarter. Philadelphia faced a 3rd and 1 on their 14th play of the drive, which was automatic brotherly shove territory. But just before the Eagles were about to run the play, referees assessed a false start penalty on center Jason Kelce. Referees called Eagles center Jason Kelce for a controversial false start penalty. Let's look at the replay. It looked as though the referee had set the football, and Kelce moved the football forward a considerable amount before hiking it. That is when the referee on the sidelines threw a penalty flag. As a result of this penalty, the Eagles instead faced a 3rd and 6 situation, so the tush-push or brotherly shove was out of the question. For that play, Hurts handed the football off to running back DeAndre Swift, which resulted in no gain. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni would call out the field goal kicking unit, and Jake Elliott would hit the 27-yarder with relative ease and extend their lead to 10-0. Philadelphia fans could not be happy about the call, as it potentially prevented the team from scoring another touchdown, their second on their first 3 drives. Ultimately, getting 3 points is better than none at all. Jalen Hurts says Eagles aren't committed enough after loss to Drew Lock, Seahawks. Having lost 3 straight games after a 20-17 defeat at the hands of the Seattle Seahawks, the Philadelphia Eagles find themselves scrambling to find answers. Speaking to reporters after Monday's loss, quarterback Jalen Hurts said the Eagles aren't committed enough to win games right now. The Eagles led most of the game before Drew Lock engineered a 92-yard drive that was capped off with Jackson Smith-Njigba's touchdown reception with 28 seconds remaining to put Seattle up by 3. Philadelphia's attempt to at least tie the game ended when Hurts was picked off by Seahawks safety Julian Love. It was Hurts' second interception of the night, giving him 12 this season. Sam Howell, 15, Josh Allen, 14, and Patrick Mahomes, 13, are the only players who have thrown more interceptions than the Eagles quarterback. There's no one simple answer for what has gone wrong with the Eagles during this rough stretch. The offense has struggled to consistently move the ball over their past 6 games. They are averaging 314.3 yards and 22.5 points per game since Week 9, and those numbers are skewed by the win over the Buffalo Bills when they had 37 points and 378 yards. Since racking up 185 yards on the ground against the Bills, the Eagles have a total of 330 rushing yards in their last 3 games. On the defensive side of the ball, opposing teams have put up at least 394 yards against the Eagles in 5 of the last 7 games. They held the Seahawks to 297 yards, but Lock had 92 of them on the game-winning drive. Even if Hurts was unable to define what he meant by the Eagles lacking commitment, the reigning NFC champs need to find answers quickly to be a factor in the playoffs. The schedule lines up nicely for the Eagles to build some momentum going into the postseason. They play the New York Giants twice and Arizona Cardinals over the final 3 weeks. While it would be a surprise if the Eagles lost any of those games, they need to make some adjustments during that stretch to start playing like the team that won 10 of its first 11 games this season. Eagles showing interest in former 4th-round QB, report. Prior to their 20-17 loss to the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles brought quarterback Ian Book in for a workout, according to NFL insider Aaron Wilson. Book, 25, was a 4th-round pick for the New Orleans Saints in 2021. He was waived by New Orleans in August of 2022, and he spent time with the Eagles after that. Philly claimed him off waivers, signing him to be QB3 behind starter Jalen Hurts and erstwhile backup Gardner Minshew. Book spent the 2022 season with the Eagles on the practice squad before getting released before the start of the 2023 season. After a brief stint with the New England Patriots in September of 2023, Book has remained a free agent. QB Ian Book has appeared in one regular season NFL game. Book was a prolific passer in his 4 seasons with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. He completed 63.8% of his passes with the Irish for 8,948 yards, 72 touchdowns, and 20 interceptions, 147.0 QB rating. He also added 1,517 yards and 17 TDs on the ground. The young QB hasn't gotten many opportunities in the NFL, however. He started one game for the Saints as a rookie against the Miami Dolphins. He completed 12 of 20 passes for 135 yards and 2 interceptions in a 20-3 loss. Book appeared in 2 preseason games for the Eagles prior to the 2023 regular season. He completed 63.2% of his passes for 91 yards, 4.8 yards per attempt, no touchdowns, and no interceptions. Eagles coach Nick Sirianni has given Ian Book high praise in the past. Rees, who is currently the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach for the Alabama Crimson Tide, worked with Book at Notre Dame while serving as offensive coordinator and QB's coach for the Irish. One thing Tommy always said about him, and now this is a guy that won a ton of football games for him and his program at Notre Dame, is how good of a leader he is. How there would be weeks or days that went by that the ball didn't touch the ground because of how accurate he is, Sirianni said about Book in 2022 via Sports Illustrated. We did a lot of work on him in the pre-draft process, obviously, Sirianni added. Naturally, when you don't get a guy sometimes that you might want, there's a little bit of, like, oh, man, I kind of wanted him, oh, shoot, they took him, or whatever it is. But you do the work in preparation of a day when you have an opportunity to potentially get him. The Eagles currently have 3 quarterbacks on their active roster. Hurts, veteran Marcus Mariota, who serves as his backup, and rookie Tanner McKee, who is third-string QB. The Eagles chose to roll with McKee over Book after the rookie had a stronger preseason. A spot on the roster won't happen, but it's entirely possible Philadelphia could add Book to its practice squad. Stay tuned.